Welcome back to a new episode of Rising Voices, the youth-led podcast here only on Conexion Latina. Hey everyone, this is Andres Rodriguez from the Rising Voices podcast here on Conexion Latina. Do you need a free consultation? They speak Spanish and they have over 30 years of experience. Call them at 1-800-335-1234. That's 1-800-335-1234. That's Liga La Justicia Abogados. And welcome back, everyone. We have a great show here for today, another solo episode. But really, I'm grateful for doing this episode. Really, being in a studio here alone is not for the weak. But I'm saying this because it's really great to have guests and to have them right beside you, and really to speak about their journey in community service, in giving back to the youth across Long Island. But today there's no youth beside me. Today it's a solo studio here at Conexion Latina. But I really wanted to address so many things that are going on in the world, right? And many things that we could do, to uplift one another and to uplift our communities across Long Island. Something I'm really grateful for is the collaboration we can do amongst the organizations across the board, right? I'm grateful enough to say that when I want to help out an organization, I can just email them and really say, hi, how are you? What's coming up? What event can I help at? And those are the things that people are looking for. They're looking for that youth involvement and that volunteerism to see how we can get involved in the community, right? And that's a good word to say that is collaboration. I think we as youth need more collaboration to get involved and to really uplift our communities across the board. I think really community service is not only about getting involved in Long Island, but it's about getting involved across the world, right? I'm from Colombia. I love getting involved in Colombia. Number one, it's much cheaper over there, so I can really, help out at any cost over there. I can come here in Long Island, help people out in Long Island, go to the city, help people out in the city whenever I can, or anywhere across the U.S. really much. We can give back to our community at any cost. And I think that's great because we have a stronger message, and that message is how we can be leaders and beacons for the next generation. And that quote really comes from the My Brother's Keeper creed. I'm coming from My Brother's Keeper right now, and every day, every week when we do that creed, it's really, that's the little sentence I always take out of that creed. And the reason why, and I was speaking about this with Lewis and Tristan a couple of weeks ago when we had them on the episodes, and when we were talking about really the how we can be beacons for the next generations, is how we can continue making a lasting impact across the board for countless and millions of people, right? It's not only about youth. It's not only about our adults. It's not only about our senior citizens, but it's about everyone across the board. And I think that's why I named the show Rising Voices, because if I could have said Rising Youth, then I would have only been talking about the youth. But I'm here to say that we all can be a rising voice. Our parents are rising voices for us. My mom, my dad, my abuelo, my abuelita, they are all rising voices for me. So my job is to be that rising voice for the people that are right beside me, right? And I'm grateful to say I don't know if I've been doing the right job in giving back to my community or being that voice for the people when I can. But I think that we as human beings, sometimes we really not only have to advocate for ourselves, but advocate for the people around us. And I think it all begins at the home level, right? My parents would always teach me that, we have to give back whenever we have the opportunity, right? When we see someone on the streets and if they're homeless, instead of giving them money, let's give them a sandwich. Instead of, the things that they want monetary, let's give them something to eat. Maybe with that, they can be more appreciative, and I think I'm grateful enough that if we have sandwiches or anything that we can probably give out, we will, and we will, because I'd much rather give someone something to eat than give them something really money wise. I think we can give them something better, and that's something to eat, something that can make them go go throughout their day, but with a meal. That is great. And I'm here to the reason why I'm speaking about that is because today I want to speak about the addressing hunger and homelessness. We have millions and millions, and it'll only continue soaring. The millions of people that are just struggling from homelessness right now. I'm grateful to say that I have a roof over to live with, a roof over to live in. And I'm grateful for that because of my family, because of the hardships they've gone through, because of their jobs, of their countless jobs that they have. It's grateful to see that we as humans, we can do some change in some type of way. There's so many organizations that are giving out food for Long Island people, for Long Island societies, and for the whole Long Island itself. Eileen's Free Bodega, a great organization that is giving back to the people of Long Island. We have Island Harvest, amazing organization as well, that they've been, at it for years. Homelessness, when we speak about homelessness, Habitat for Humanity, if you saw on Newsday or on a local news network, a week ago, or no, it was more than a week ago, about almost 1 month ago, they built a 3D home in Long Island, the first 3D home in Long Island. And that was made by Habitat for Humanity for a underprivileged family who needed that support. And that's great because we get to see the amazing impacts community organizations are doing to uplift our people, our familias of Long Island, our Latinos, our people really from everywhere across the board. We can't only be speaking about Latinos. Latinos are amazing. I am a proud Latino, but we have to speak about everyone across the board and how we can support each other and not have that division, but unite each other. I think organizing food banks is a great one. Soup kitchens, really, soup kitchens happen at churches. Churches have an amazing impact on our communities, serving so many people and giving back to communities across Long Island. Shelters, we have amazing shelters across Long Island that are giving back at every cost to our families across Long Island and everywhere across the board, really to help our families and help everyone at no cost, which is great. Providing resources and assistance to those facing housing insecurity, housing help with Pilar Moya. They are amazing people that are giving back to our community. Pronto of Long Island, giving every Saturday countless and tons of food that can be thrown away, but that really are used for our families across Long Island. Island Harvest. There's so many organizations that really want to have an impact on countless of lives. And I think that's why I would have the honor and I would love to create an organization for that same reason, to help the people out, right? To not only give resources and to give my help, but to also create a society where we all can give back to our community and spread a positive message to give back to one another. Mental health workshops, that is great, and that is much needed for anywhere across the board. I think the 988 hotline, amazing hotline for our people to help that, incorporating the physical and emotional well-being of everyone, of giving back. That's why I also want to be a social worker. And I was speaking that to Irvin on the first episode of Rising Voices. I was telling him on how we as people, we've had so many amazing people who have mentored us, right? Miss Rebecca for myself, Mr. Ricky, Miss Caitlin, all these amazing people, organizations, EOC of Suffolk, My Brother's Keeper, Dr. Chief Taylor, Miss Marisol Pagan, Mr. Morgan, all of them, Long Island Latino Teachers Association, right? Daphne Irizarry, all those amazing people who want to have a longing impact on really giving back to our communities. They are just 1% of the countless and amazing mentors I have had over the years that I can't be just so grateful for, because they have been those wellness initiatives for myself. They have been the mentors, and they have been the beacons for me, so I could be the better beacon for the next generation. I like sharing this, and that it's my dad works at a senior senior center, right? And he's one of the managers over there at a senior center. And the countless stories he tells me is about basically bonding with the senior citizens. I like going over and helping out senior citizens. I remember about 2 years ago in August there was a Brentwood seniors. It was something with Brentwood seniors, and they had a big event at the Radisson Hotel. I was proud enough to go over there. It was after a salsa fest in Brentwood, but after I went to the salsa fest and then went to the party that evening to celebrate our senior citizens, they had a great time. You're seeing people 70, 80, 65 and above really jamming and having fun, playing music, really reconnecting, building strong bonds, and me right there, speaking with them and having fun with them. Those are the things that we are addressing. It's how we can take care after the people who have given so much to us, and how we can be beacons for all, right? I've always said this on every episode, is how we can all be beacons for the next generation, but not only for the next generation, for the past generations that came, right? Our ancestors, our familias, everyone across the board, how we can create a inclusive society for all. And that is great enough because, hearing the stories that my dad tells me on these bonds that he creates with these senior citizens is just amazing, and just shows me why I've done so much for my community, because I've had those mirrors. My mom always speaks about having mirrors, right? She can look at a mirror, right? And if that in that mirror, she sees someone that really is making a lasting impact. Every day she looks at herself in the mirror. And we all do. We all should look at ourselves, at our mirror, at our camera, and don't say anything, but just stay there and look at how long you've gone, right? How the lasting long impacts you've made in your community, in your friends' lives, in your best friends' lives. It's great what we can do to uplift others, and that doesn't involve community service. It can involve helping out your cousin with a relationship. It can help out with anything technically, and that's great. I think I'm proud enough to say I have amazing friends, because I think a friend shouldn't just be there for 30 minutes and that's it, right? That's not a friend. A friend is there when you're at your lowest and when you need that support, right? Checking in with one another. Hey, how are you? How's everything? How are you doing? No matter what, once a week, that's probably just what a friend needs, right? And having that collaboration when I speak about community services, also how we can take care of ourselves and the people surrounding us. It's such an amazing impact we can do, one student and one youth at a time. I think we have such a long impact we can make by just being kind and being our authentic selves, right? Every day I think of what's next. What else could I do to help people out? And I think something my parents always tell me is, you have to take care of yourself before you take care of others. And I think that is much needed. I think we all have to take care of ourselves before helping everyone else out, right? If I'm not at my very best, then why am I doing community service, right? I think I have to be at my 100% to, give back to my community and say, you know what, Andres, today's the day. Today I can get up and today I can really go out to the world and see what the world has to offer and what I can offer to the world. We have more topics. I have so many topics to continue speaking about. This is Rising Voices. We're going to take a little short break. On the way back, we'll have more here on Conexion Latina's Rising Voices. We'll take a little short break. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Rising Voices here on Conexcion Latina. My name is Andres Rodriguez. All right, so before the break, we were talking about so much on how we can make a lasting impact, right? And how it begins at the family level, how we as people, it starts at home, it starts at where it all begins, right? And how we as people can just help out at any cost, but how you have to be your best self, and you have to be better. You have to, take care of yourself before you're taking care of others. You have to, give back to yourself whenever needed, and then you can do whatever you want to give back to your community. Now I want to speak about crisis response and disaster relief. I 2 years ago, and I think yes, it was 2 years ago in what year are we in 2025? In 2023, I had the privilege of helping 5 families out. I remember my living room was packed of toothbrushes, socks, so many things, hygiene supplies, school supplies, clothes. There was just so much at my house, really, and my parents were sick of me. They saw so many things, and they were like, Andres, what's going on here? What are you hoarding or something? What's going on here? And I was like, no, listen, I want to do some positive change, right? And sadly enough, I gathered all these things, but for one reason, that week 3 families lost their houses due to fires across both Central Islip and the Brentwood community. And it was sad because one of those families was my friend who lives in Brentwood. And to see the way my friend went through the struggles, really, of not having a home, losing everything, right, starting back from zero, it's truly it's scary to say that what can happen. It's sad enough that people have to go through those things, right? And sometimes they just need that social and that they need that support. And I'm grateful enough to say that I had that support throughout the way and throughout the months that led up to giving back to those families. I When we counted over 300 hygiene supplies and really a lot of things that we gave back to the families. I remember there was a family with a little child, and we were giving diapers, we were giving everything from baby food, hygiene stuff, toys. I had everything to make sure that these families were safe, right? And I remember I was on Newsday and Tu Prensa Local, and I was speaking with them, right? And I was speaking with the journalists, and I was telling them, listen, I want this story to be on the news, but for the positive reasons, for what we are doing as youth, right? We don't see this every day, where youth is really giving back to the community in such that big way, right? How we as people can, unite and give back to the community in such a powerful way, in giving back, but not for the recognition, but to tell the story of how youth can make a long-lasting impact on people's lives. I remember going to the Marriott in Central Islip and giving out all those hygiene supplies, school supplies, all of that, and getting support from districts in Brentwood, Central Islip, getting support from amazing organizations across the town of Islip for that support. I was immensely grateful for that, because we did such an amazing thing for our communities. We had a great source of support in engaging with one another and helping each other out, and creating a positive space of relief, and really being on that crisis response when they needed it. I remember that story so much because it was impactful for myself, to help someone out, to not only to help out my friend, but help out the people who needed it. And this whole journey of really giving back to the community, it started, and it won't end yet. I think my community service journey just will continue, but because of the people I have met throughout my journey. I've met amazing people. I've met amazing mentors that still contact me every day and want to see how I'm doing, and want to see what I'm doing, and want to see in what way they can help me and I can help them. It is great to see the impact you as a person can make, get the network opportunities, most importantly, give back to your community and give back to the people around you. It's really great. I'm grateful enough to be involved in such a community that has so much diversity, that has equity, that has inclusivity, that is a unity community, and that most importantly is there for one another. I think we need that more across the board and across Long Island. Really, we need that source of support, and how we as people can unite and not divide. we are going to finish off the episode here because I think we touched a lot of topics. We touched on the power of volunteerism. We touched on the building of stronger communities, the social justice, the equality, the mental health awareness, how we can bring mental health awareness across our school buildings and across the world, how we can build education and youth empowerment, how we can fundraise and resource build, how we can really talk about collaboration with our local government and our amazing organizations, how we can address our hunger and our homelessness, and most importantly, how we in a disaster relief situation can help out one another at no cost. And how we can be united. I think that's where we want to leave this episode today, how we can be united. And that's the message I want to leave with. We can be more united than divided. Thank you so much for joining me here on Conexion Latina's Rising Voices. It has been great. Have a great rest of your day. Take care now. This is Rising Voices.